Growing up, I was not a cartoon kid, and at that, a Cartoon Network kid. The style of certain animations would physically hurt my eyes and be so painful to watch, and Ed, Edd, and Eddy was not exempt from that. The show is just so ugly, and at the ripe age of 5, I wanted no parts in the show because it was just so ugly. Now that I'm older, stronger, and wiser, I've decided to give Ed, Edd, and Eddy another shot and see what it's all about, and if I would have looked past the animation style, would have I enjoyed this show as a kid. Hello all in the land of YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Xalexandria X, and in today's video we'll be watching the first episode of Ed, Edd, and Eddy to see if I would have liked this show as a kid, because like I said, the show was so ugly to me. But enough with all that jibber jabber, and let's dive in. The show actually starts with the opening sequence, and I will say it's a fun one to watch, and it does show the personality of each main character and the chaoticness of what we are about to witness. Ed, Edd, and Eddy is one of those shows that has like too many episodes to make a full-length episode. So this first part is titled The Ed-Touchables. The episode starts with Double D in his room organizing things, and the doorbell keeps ringing. Finally, Eddy comes over, and we learn that Double D is a germaphobe and very particular. As Double D is about to put the last label for the magnifying glass, it is nowhere to be found. Ed starts freaking out, but Eddy puts him back in place. The boys end up going to other Ed's house, and Ed's sister, I believe, Sarah, gets upset because she can't find her dog. Double D makes a point about his magnifying glass, and Eddy suggests finding the person who has been stealing their things. So Eddy addresses the other cul-de-sac kids about the issue, and Eddy lets them know that they got everything under control.
Beware of the toucher! Serial toucher on the loose! Hide your stuff! Hide your valuables! Serial toucher on the loose!
Honestly, why is this giving the same vibe or essence of hide your kids, hide your wife?
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband, because they everybody out here.
So the idea is just to have Ed sit and not talk to people until someone talks or touches him. Johnny comes by and talks to Ed, and then he has a board named Plank, and he uses Plank to touch Ed's head, and this leads the boys to believe that it was Johnny. He is so stupid. Why is he this stupid? Anyways, they end up taking Johnny to interrogate him, but they don't get much out of it. Then they move to Plank, and his lie detector test comes back false. So Eddy has a water gun and drops droplets of water onto Plank. And I don't know if the sound of water did it to Johnny or what. He just wants to get out of the chair, so Johnny admits that it was him, but he does follow up with, "I gotta go to the bathroom." In the next scene, we see Johnny in a tire. I assume that this is his punishment for taking everyone's stuff, but it's then revealed that Sarah and Double D found their missing items because they misplaced them. They go on to eat jawbreakers, and then they chase the jawbreakers.
You know what they say? A little childhood trauma builds character.
Yo, what? So that was the first bit of the first episode, but let's move straight into the second half, titled Nagged to Ed. In the beginning of part 2 of the episode, the boys are getting ready to go on a nature excursion. As they're walking through the woods, Ed gets caught in a spider web, and in the woods, you hear giggling in Ed, Edd, and Eddy sitting in a tree. Kissing. As they're running around, they end up in this yellow stuff, and then you see like people going to them, and it fades to black. But then in the next scene, they're now with the Canker sisters, who get them cleaned up. It's apparent that these girls like the triple E's, or the boys. After the girls run off, Double D is not feeling it, but Eddy just wants to chill and eat and then leave. They definitely should have listened to Double D, because you don't know these girls and they touched y'all without consent. Anyways, the boys are just scoping the place out, and the girls fix them some burgers. They crush over the boys and let them eat and watch TV. Sisters are now all dressed up and cute, and they want the boys to notice them, but the boys are not even looking at them, not one bit. And the girls are upset at this, so now they're mean to them, and they demand that they clean up their house because of all the hard work they put into taking care of them. Why does Double D look like that? As they're cleaning, Ed tracks mud in the house, and the girls eventually whine about the boys not appreciating them, and then they are asked to leave. Then the girls show them like little doll versions of the boys and claim them as to be their sons, and the boys freak out, run away, and the girls still find them dreamy. End of episode. Okay, so my thoughts on Ed, and Eddy right now watching as an adult. I was very curious when I first started seeing their tongues. Why are their tongues green, purple, yellow? And I'm like, I gotta know, because it's gonna drive me up the wall if I don't figure out why their tongues are not pink or red like most animation characters. And I learned that the creative decision from the series creator, he wanted their tongues to be like the yellow and the purple is because he saw his son and his friend eat candy and their tongues were brightly colored. He was like, you know what, let's not make their tongues like the normal pink or red. Let's just give them purple, blue, and also because the point of Ed and Eddy is that they love eating jawbreakers. So that's why their tongues are that color. So now I can go to sleep at night knowing that that's why their tongues are blue, purple, yellow, green. It's an in-universe symbolization that these boys love jawbreakers. That was driving me up the wall. Like, why are their tongues blue and purple? And I think that's also freaky too. But I will say, as someone watching like from an adult lens of watching Ed, and Eddy, I can definitely see why this show can be like a lot of people's comfort show. This show came out in 1999 and then ended in 2009. So a 10-year run, you could probably binge watch this show. And I'm going to be honest, like after like watching like the first episode specifically for this video, I actually watched episode 2 and like the first half of episode 3. And I'm gotta tell you guys, I'm actually like loving the show because it's just the absurdity of kids. And I don't know how old the boys are, but I know they gotta be between the ages of 8 to 11 just because like I can't see them being like 5 years old. Like they shouldn't be 5. Like 8 to 11 is like a perfect age for them. And I just like the absurdity of like being a kid, and I just think it's the ridiculousness of the show is very funny to me, where I don't really have to pay attention to too much to a plot. Like I can come home, unwind from my day, and just throw on some Ed, and Eddy. Like, I can literally see why adults who grew up with this show would love to just cut this show on because it's relaxing. And also with the characters, it's like very like front forward to who they are. Like Ed is just the idiot. He is the stupid one. Like he is so stupid. Like why was he running into a pole 3 times this entire episode? So stupid. Then Double D, that Ed, he's like very like, you know, germaphobe, precautious, very particular. He like the kid who like genuinely is like meh, like no, I don't want to touch that. He's like one of those kids. I don't know what kind of kid you call that, but he's definitely one of those kids. And then Eddy, of course, is like the schemer. Like he just schemes, you know, like he always got something up his sleeve. And I think that these 3, like literally 3 brain cells working together. Literally, like this is what it is. Just to get some jawbreakers, 3 brain cells to work together. And this episode, like the 2 that I watched, literally, like I just love the antics of kids. Because like watching this, it reminds me of being a kid myself. Now that I'm older, like I said, I'm a little bit, you know, more susceptible to different animation styles because I'm no longer 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. Because like I said, when I was a kid, art styles, it always depended on if the show looked like it was for boys or the art style. And I will admit that although like Ed, and Eddy has that boy look, I feel like as a kid, I definitely would have liked this show if I would have given the show a chance despite its art style. Because like I said, literally, like even as an adult, I'll admit the show is still very ugly. Like the show is like very ugly, but because I can look past the ugliness and just listen to the plot or watch mainly for the plot and dialogue, I like the show. And if I really would have just sat down as a child and watched the plot and dialogue of the show, I know I would have loved Ed, and Eddy, and probably would have been making a video about why Ed, and Eddy is the best show ever. Like, you know what I'm saying? But as a kid, I just could not give the show a chance because it was so ugly to look at. Even as an adult, I'll admit, this show is very ugly. But I love the plot. Like, I genuinely do like this show, and I am going to continue watching the show in my ripe age right now because it's so much funny to me, and the stupidity of these characters genuinely make me laugh. But these are genuinely just kids being kids, and I do miss being a child because adulting sucks. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, especially subscribe, and I hope that you guys have a great day. Bye!